In Module 9, we're going to be looking at 9 different statistical inferential problems. This will be because we're looking at to compare the parameter in 2 different populations, and so therefore we'll be taking 2 samples, one from each population. A particular challenge in this module will be to identify, just from reading the problem, which of these 9 types of problems it is, because each of them have a little bit different strategy for solving. Let's mention the 9 different statistical inferential problems that we'll be looking at. In a political race, it's not unusual to ask the question, what proportion of females are going to vote for candidate A, or what proportion of males are going to vote for candidate A? A hypothesis test in this case might ask the question, the proportion of men voting for this particular candidate is less than the proportion of women, or greater than or not equal to. So it could be a lower tail test, an upper tail test, or a two-tailed test again. Alternatively, the question might be, create a confidence interval for the difference in those 2 proportions. We might be interested in 2 companies who are producing batteries. And the question might be, is the average lifespan of the batteries from one company less than, greater than, or not equal to the lifespan of the other company's batteries? The example that we just gave with the batteries, that was a hypothesis test for an unpaired means. Alternatively, we might be interested in calculating a confidence interval for the difference of those 2 means. Sometimes we're interested in 2 different populations, and we're interested in their means, but it's a paired situation instead. For example, suppose that we were interested in the cost of fish on the East Coast compared to the West Coast. We might take a sample of fish, of different kinds of fish, because each different kind of fish is going to cost a different amount. So would take a random sample of these different kinds of fish and compare the price on the East Coast to the price on the West Coast. They're paired. We're interested in that difference. Then we would compare the difference in each of the other types of fish that we're looking at, and then we'd look at the average of those differences. In this case, we'd be interested in a hypothesis test, asking the question, is the average of those differences less than 0, greater than 0, or not equal to 0? Or we could be looking for the confidence interval for that difference. Now we need to return to the question of unpaired, because there is a complication there. You see, there are different methods used if the population variances are equal or if the population variances are not equal. So we need to have a test to be able to determine whether the population variances are equal. So there are the 9 scenarios that we're going to look at in this module. One of the biggest challenges is to be able to read a problem and recognize which of these 9 we have in place. I might mention, rather than worrying about the variances being equal, we'll just assume that they're not equal. We do want you to know about that, at least one test that tests for equal variances.